Born Maria Miller as a free person in Hartford, Connecticut in 1803 to two African-born parents. But by the time she turned 5, she was an orphan. Maria was then bound out as an indentured servant to a local clergyman's family until she was 15 years old. Eventually, Maria moved to Boston, Massachusetts, and married a businessman named James W. Stewart. James was much older than Maria, and prior to meeting her, he had spent quite a bit of time serving on various ships during the War of 1812. They settled in the Beacon Hill neighborhood of Boston and were members of the black middle-class community there. In many ways, this was a thriving black community. But the people there weren't content to simply do well for themselves. They wanted to advocate for their people. They didn't want to be exceptional. They thought that every black person, North and South, should be free. David Walker was a black activist and philosophical leader who lived near Maria and her husband, and he used his platform to fight against slavery in the United States. One of his most important contributions to African American history was a pamphlet, which went by the title Walker's Appeal in 4 articles, together with a preamble to the colored citizens of the world, but in particular, and very expressly, to those of the United States of America, written in Boston, state of Massachusetts, September 28th, 1829. Yeah, that whole thing is the title. This was an era where gigantic titles were super trendy. And while the title may have been super trendy, the content was pretty scathing, arguing that black Americans were, quote, the most wretched, degraded, and abject set of beings that ever lived since the world began, down to the present day, and that the white Christians of America who hold us in slavery, or more properly speaking, pretenders to Christianity, treat us more cruel and barbarous than any heathen nation did any people whom it had subjected. As the famous philosopher Biggie Smalls said, if you don't know, now you know.
For Juneteenth, I felt like it was very important for you to know who these people were. When I was younger and I had people saying, I'm going to take your black card, I automatically defaulted to, do you know who David Walker and Maria Stewart are? They never knew. And it would be for the most frivolous things, poverty-related things. But instead of accountability, it was always, the response was, nobody taught me. I didn't learn this in school. I went searching for the information, to be honest. I've received oral history in my life on purpose because that's what I wanted to do with my time. Something else they didn't teach in school, they didn't teach you celebrity names. They didn't teach you celebrity birthdays, but you know them. You know these people's children's names and all details about them, but not how to balance a checkbook. That is a choice. It is not gatekeeping when you're intentionally ignorant in choosing that experience and timeline in your life.